Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie102 and these are Cassiopeia and Xena. And today I wanted to make a lighthearted video. And a video I announced quite a while back. And since I am working at the moment on a video on creepshow art, but since the Emily Artful thing came out, it's so much to cover. Probably some of you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, so just wait for the video to come probably next week. And yes, my hair is wet because I was in the shower and it's just too hot to blow dry my hair, so I'm just sitting here with wet hair today. And I thought, let's film a German myths video, because since most... Oh baby, we're not going onto the keyboard. And because since many of my subscribers, actually most of my subscribers are from America, UK, Australia, and everywhere in the world, some of them, I heard quite a lot of weird myths about Germany. And one of the biggest myths is, no, Germans do not wear Dirndl and lederhosen all the time. We do not have a universal culture in Germany. Basically, every region almost has its own culture. Dirndl and lederhosen is from Bavarian culture, and even there people do not wear them all the time. It's most of the time just for the Oktoberfest. That's first myth debunked. And one of the biggest myths is that people think we Germans sound always angry. Hey! And German is such a harsh language. I never knew why people would think that. Of course, compared to French or English, it's not as fluid and not as melodic at times, but people think like this because they were watching Second World War Nazi stuff. And of course, those people were angry. That's why they sound angry. No one talked like da. You always see those videos. Butterfly, farfalla, farfall, and different languages, and then German, Schmetterling. You can pronounce every word in that weird way. You can say Schmetterling, butterfly, farfalla. You know what I mean? It's just not like that. For example, when I say, die deutsche Sprache ist gar nicht so wütend, wie manche Leute auf der ganzen Welt denken. Eigentlich reden wir Deutschen ganz flüssig, wie jeder andere auf dem Planeten auch. Did I sound angry? I do not think so, because I'm not angry. The German language has a different way of pronouncing words in a sentence, because in Germany, and you hear that with my accent in English many times, we pronounce every word separately, most of the time. But when we're talking in our dialect, it's also mushed together in one big word sentence. Especially for me as a Swabian, we, for example, do not say was machst du? We say was machst. We smush it together and it's more fluid. So that's another myth. That's just not true. Another part of the German language is that the pronunciation in German is so much different, because all of our words end, or all of our words, when they end on a consonant, they end on a voiceless consonant. We do not have, for example, the z sound. We have z. And that is where I have the biggest problem, because I try to make that better, to make my English better, but it's so hard for me to z while talking, because I never learned that. That's not part of my repertoire of forming vowels, forming words with my mouth. And we pronounce words just differently. That's when you hear people talk, yes, we all sit in one boat, and Germany is such a great country. And as you guys know, that was at the beginning my fear, why in my first few videos I talk so weird, because my biggest fear is I sound like them. I know my English is pretty good, I know, but we Germans, we have fears deep down inside. Another myth or two myths technically, is that we Germans are cold and asocial, and we do not have humor, so that we're just these boring, angry persons. No. Do you think I am cold and asocial? Do you think I'm really this boring ass person who's just sitting at home like, oh no, I don't know what I want to do with my life, so I do make YouTube video? No! I'm not that kind of German, and I can tell you there are some Germans that are cold and asocial and do not have a sense of humor as the general public, but so are people in America and in Australia and in Bulgaria. That's just the general fact of people. There are some that are that way and some that are this way, so I don't know. What I think where this myth comes from is when I compare the American culture of small talk that basically doesn't exist in Germany. I never was in America, but I know American people that went to Germany, and you can spot them even if you don't know them in, for example, a grocery store. Because they just talk to the people working there, to the cashier. They're just talking to them. And in Germany, it's like everyone is so weirded out by it, because we just think, let those people work. Do not talk to them. They have to be nice. They probably just want to do their shit and go home. Of course, we exchange some words and maybe say like, oh my god, it's so hot outside, Ryan, but that's it. And that is only when the other person responds in a certain kind of way. We are not just going to talk to strangers, even though when they're working there. I think there is where this asocial thing comes from, but we're not. We're very friendly, but when we're outside, try to mind our own business. When you are more on the countryside, you say hello to everyone on the streets, regardless if you know them or not. But in more bigger cities, you won't do that because you see thousands of people a day. Another myth is that Germans are very organized and efficient, and compared to certain countries, that is true. We have more rules on when we set that time for a meeting, then you have to be there. And not just a meeting, but also in private. But it's not like everyone does this, or that it's so much stricter than anywhere else. And to prove to you that Germans are not that efficient with everything like people made us out to be, let me tell you a little fairy tale based on true events about an airport. Let's call this airport BER. And let's imagine this airport is in Berlin, Brandenburg. It was 2005, I think, where Berlin decided, hey, let's build a new airport. It was one of the worst decisions in the last 50 years. Less than 50 years. Just to be sure. Weird sentence to say as a German. And they said, let's build an airport. It shall cost about 2 billion euros, and it shall be open for the people in 2011. It was opened last year, and it did cost more than $7 billion. Because this company who started the whole thing did so much shit. Because they bought the wrong escalators, they bought the wrong lifts, they put in the whole fire alarm water system, and then they were standing there after it's all finished, right before someone should come in and check if everything is fine. They were standing there and said, we do not have any way of getting water here. So after finishing all of that, they had to build huge containers for billions of liters of water in case there will be a fire. And they built the new ceiling with incredibly flammable materials. And there were so many things. There were 7 different appointments for opening that never could be held, and now it opened during the pandemic. You cannot make this shit up. The BR is one of the biggest examples of how well people think in Germany of themselves. Like, oh, we know everything, we do all the best. No, we don't. There's this myth I think I debunked a little bit on my channel before, that people in Germany do not speak of the Holocaust. That's not true. Of course, we keep us a little bit back in heated discussions about it because, hey, we're Germans. But also, it's not that kind of a taboo topic in Germany. You can visit Dachau. It was a concentration camp. It's part of our education system. It is part of our history, and more people accept that. Because we're not Nazis. There are some, but they are not part of the society. They're the outsiders that try to get to be part of the society. But most of the time, we Germans talk about that because it is part of our history. This is a stereotype I cannot debunk, really, that Germans drink beer all day. We drink a lot of beer. We love our beer. I love our beer, but I do not drink it every day, all day. There are people who drink every day, all day, but we would call them alcoholics. Even in Germany, yeah. But yes, we love our beer, especially the Bavarian beer. I have to admit, as a Swabian, Bavarian beer, delish. I got very offended when I heard about this the first time, I have to admit. That Germany doesn't have a cuisine of their own. Excuse me, have you ever heard of Spätzle, Maultaschen, Kässpätzle, Schnitzel mit Pommes und Salat? No? Because that's German cuisine. It's not like fancy like Italian or French cuisine, but we have our own. And no, it's not, the biggest part of it is not sauerkraut. We eat sauerkraut, we love it, but we don't eat it every day, all day. Again, we have our own cuisine, and especially my Swabian cuisine. But it's not like that fancy thing because it's traditional, and the Germans were never that fancy. I think Germans in the past were workers, and yeah, that's what the cuisine represents, and it's delicious, and you can't tell me otherwise. Germans are obsessed with automobiles. That's true. We have Audi, BMW. It's a BMW. It's BMW. We have Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz. There's so much more, but still, we have so many cars in Germany, and they're good cars. People around the world love them, and so do we. I make this comparison because even in German politics, people want to get more green to fight climate change and all of that. But there are all these people who say, no, I want to keep my diesel. They want to take it away. Human rights, freedom in Germany, blah, blah, blah. So fucking stupid. And I always make this comparison because Germans like to talk a little bit down on Americans with their guns. Because what in American culture is their love for guns is in Germany our love for our cars. And it's stupid, it's irrational, but it's part of our culture, like in America. Because Germans like to say, oh, these fucking Americans, why can't they just after the next school shooting just ban all of their guns? Then I say, okay, let's do the same in Germany. Fight climate change and just ban diesel and slowly ban all the combustion engines and replace them with newer, better technologies that are better for our climate, that have less CO2. And then everyone goes, how dare you? This is part of our culture and you could never, and people wouldn't let you do this, and they're crying like little babies, like Americans with their guns. I know it's a generalization, but I made the generalization in Germany too, and so it's not cultural insensitive or anything like that. That's another concept I just don't understand. I've been told in the comments a few times that I am nice for German, or I am nicer than some Germans they know. And I don't get it. I like to think we Germans are pretty nice people. But I think that's also rooted in the whole we don't like this small talk stuff. We just do not talk to people when we do not have to say anything. I hate people when they text me, hey, what's up? And I say, hey, nothing, what's up? To you back, and they say, oh, nothing, and then don't respond anymore. Why text me when you do not have anything to say? When you're not even asking, hey, what you doing? How are you? Or anything like that. Why are you talking to me? And I think that's why people think we're rude, and also we not beat around the bush. We like to say, hey, that's fucked up. Hey, shut the fuck up. Hey, don't do that thing. That's a shitty thing to do. We like to get things out. But that's not rude. We're just being honest. There's a difference in being rude and not beating around the bush. Oh, I don't want to hurt you. Yeah, but it's fucked up. That doesn't mean I don't like you when I say, hey, that's not okay. And I am not the rudest ones, or I am not very good in being that upfront most of the time when thinking about me in the rest of German culture. But we're not rude. There are rude people, but they're everywhere, so this will be the last myth I will discuss right now, because it grinds my gears. People always think I'm stupid when reading big numbers because I start to stutter. Let me explain you why. The German way of pronouncing numbers, like 24. In English, it's 20 and 4. Yeah? In German, it's 4 und 20. It's 4 and 20. In German, it's so weird. We pronounce the word, we pronounce the word for the number from back to front, but only for the 10th. When we have, let's say, 224, we have 224. We have 224. It's stupid, I know, but I grew up with this thing. And that's why when there is, for example, 79, I always want to say 97, because the 9 is on the back. And in German, you start from the back. It's stupid. I don't know why people back then thought that could be a great idea. It's better than in French. It's just a mathematical equation to pronounce, for example, I don't know, 98 in French. So we have it better in Germany, but still it doesn't make any sense. It's so weird, and that's why many Germans stumble upon numbers. And another thing in the German names for numbers, number names, I don't know how you say it in English, is, for example, we have million, like English million. Then we have, after Millionen, we have Milliarde. And Milliarde is in English a billion. And then we have Billion, but that is in English a trillion. And then we have Billiarde, and that is another thing in English. And we have quadrillion and quadrilliard, for example. And I'm pretty sure this is in English not the case. And that makes the talk about those big numbers so weird for us, because we always have to go back and think, okay, an American billion is in German Milliarde. And it's so hard to keep up at times, because as you know, I consume mostly English/American content. And the talk about billion, fine, I know it's Milliarde in German brain. But when I talk to different people, I always want to say, eine Billion. But it's not a billion. But it's billion, not billion. Why, people? Why would you do this? Probably that is why the global economics are so fucked, because people don't know which numbers they're talking about. But at least that's some German myths. I hope it was mildly interesting. I'm okay with mildly interesting. And if you have any other myths or stereotypes about Germans, or maybe about Europeans, because I know people outside of Europe always refer to us as the Europeans, even though we have vastly different cultures, not like in America, this whole country, and it's so similar. We have very different cultures even just in Germany, so what the fuck, Europe is so different. But if you have any funny stereotypes or myths about the certain countries, maybe we can do some kind of collab video with people from those certain countries and make this a series if you think that's kind of interesting. So let me know down in the comments, and also let me know, did you believe some of these myths or stereotypes about Germany? Because I was so shocked that so many people, and I'm so sorry Americans, but so many people are from America who believe those stereotypes. I don't know why. There's still people believing that East and West Germany are still different countries. So I'm sorry, but please let me know if there are stereotypes I didn't cover or you think you did believe. It was a lot of fun making this video, something lighthearted, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching and sticking by through all of my weird quirks in my brain, and I will see you next time. Bye!